And okay, boom, we are on. We're live.
Awesome.
Not
All
live,
right.
but yeah. So today we're gonna talk about exposure.
Exposure 1991.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So this is a film I've reviewed multiple times on my channel, even fairly recently. But
Oh,
I want
thanks for letting me talk
no.
about
I wanted to get your point of view of it without a doubt. So that's why, who better to go to than Video Sensei right here?
it. All right, Wmpyr. So yeah, man, for sure, dude. I checked it out the night that you talked about. That we talked, and I immediately went and found it. I loved it. The right away, the one thing that stood out was when Techie Cairo tells him like it's gonna change you, and like I don't know if that happened to you when you started training. It it changed me. Not
Without a
like
doubt. Yeah,
yeah. So,
without a doubt. But okay, so this was the first time you saw it, right?
first time. I still haven't gone back for a second review or anything. But Amanda Pays is in it. Like I
Yeah.
love, she's gorgeous, and so like I'm just like, oh man, and
I
she getting raped, and oh,
Oh
it's
God,
terrible.
yeah, it's horrible. What have you seen her in? I think wasn't she in Leviathan?
Yes, she was in Leviathan, but
Okay.
she's also in like that. I don't know. It's a cheesy Flash movie, made for TV movie.
Yes, after
Yeah,
Batman, and it's the Flash is all buffed out.
yeah, he's buffed out with his suit, but like she's the girl, and
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So
She's the scientist, right?
yes,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
okay.
So
So back in the '90s, yeah. All right,
yeah, she had like a thing going on there for like for a while with some
that,
movies. At
that
least
was
I
her.
saw her in the Flash. I remembered, and
Okay.
she's also in this one and Leviathan.
I
But
kind of felt like she's almost like she was like the next Kelly LeBrock, you know?
yeah, well, she reminded me also of that like the Tila babe from Masters of the Universe, but she wasn't Tila. Like
Oh,
because the girl that played Tila sort of looks like her.
okay.
From 1987. I don't even remember that movie with Dolph
Yeah,
Lundgren.
of course.
But of course, yeah. So,
Yeah.
but no, she wasn't. I looked her up though. Amanda Pays was in Max Headroom. You remember that? Like, with
That's a
the weird, like
famous.
computerized.
Yeah. I never got
But I
into it,
don't remember
but
her in that. Like I was
okay.
maybe too young. Like so.
Yeah.
Like,
So
but
yeah. It's weird because normally when I mention these old school movies, you've seen it, and this is one
yeah.
that you haven't.
No, I hadn't seen it. I mean, Techie Cairo's young. Like he had just maybe he already done La Femme Nikita, or he was
Oh.
in the process of doing it. Remember, because this was a cool movie because, like, if you think about it, like
It's the
he's an
same.
assassin dude,
Yeah.
and he's the same dude in La
It's the
Femme
same
Nikita,
dude.
except he's the
Oh.
leader. So
Okay.
is it the same universe? Like, can it be? Like, I want it to be. Like,
Oh wow, I didn't think about it. You see, this is why I wanted to talk to you about this. That would be so awesome if it's the same
oh, it's so
universe.
cool. Like, we could say that it is, and it's cool because it's at the time, and he's doing that. Like, it's the same thing like with John Reno. Like when I just did a little mini review of Ronin, and so he's in Ronin, and
Okay.
I mean, you could put two and two together. He's still a professional. He's still an operative. He's doing intelligence work.
Yeah.
So, like, he's not Leon, but he's sort
Yeah.
of like graduated to maybe if Leon had lived, he'd be that.
That would be super cool to think that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's cool to kind of do this sometimes, but definitely I thought Techie Cairo, man, like
Yeah.
he levels up in La Femme Nikita, and he's the leader. But back then, that first initial, right when you see the fight scene, like where he's like dodging and like at that point, like that's what caught me. Because up to there, I was like, okay, why did Wmpyr tell me to watch this? Like, let me watch this. It's kind of slow, and immediately, like when my brain said that, like you see him, like, and I'm like, hey, wait, that looks real. And then, ching, you just hear he draws his blade out, and like, and then of course that's where Mandrake tells him, look out, and there's another dude, and but right away when I noticed like the way he was cutting the people, he was cutting them like the way I was shown and stuff. Like he wasn't cutting them like the way a movie choreographer would make it look like a pretend knife fight. So I kind of like was a little bit shocked. And then later we come to see the X on the and that stuff. I was shown how to do that as well. Not the same style, but like those ideas, they kind of move from style to style. Basic ideas like that, like an angles of attack, things like that.
The choreographer is a FMA guy.
Okay, that makes perfect sense.
And I don't know what you thought, but I kind of felt like, having viewed it again, I felt like all the fight scenes in this movie seemed realistic. Even the one with the giant versus the prostitute lady, even that one, it just, every fight scene in this movie felt very like ugly, gritty.
Especially that one with the giant, because how does that one end? He like hits her, and she like bounces off the wall, like, you know, the way it would in real life. And bats, you know, she's knocked out, but she's really dead.
But
because he's the giant.
She takes out an eye, so I mean, it's an ugly.
She takes out an eye from the first move. Like, that's the first move, and that's usually like what, you know, you join one of these in Shaolin. I remember one of the first moves was like one of those, like the self-defense moves. We had like 10 self-defense techniques that you had to learn from like white belt to yellow belt, and like 10 sparring techniques, you know, other things. So in those self-defense techniques, one of them was the eye gouge, because you weren't going to use that to be nice, you know.
Right.
So she goes right into it.
Right away, yeah. And if she was, like, she's supposed to be a prostitute, you know, she's seen some action, you know, she's been in.
She was a federal agent, like, so she was definitely like trained, but like she wasn't Cynthia Rothrock.
Oh, she wasn't a prostitute? I thought she was a prostitute.
No, she was the federal agent. Because she's later talking to Mandrake. Right before she gets killed, she's talking to Mandrake, and he's telling her, like, hey, I need you to find out more about Camilo, because that was the name of the giant.
That's right.
And so she goes in there. The other girl, I don't think the other girl was fed. The other girl might have been a
The other girl was the prostitute. You see, I thought those two girls were buddies. You see, that's what I was thinking. Okay.
Yeah, no. But, like, it's cool. Like, the movie's well made, dude. It disguises all of these things. It doesn't kind of put it out in your face. When I first saw the train scene, I'm thinking, like, of course this dude's a bad dude. He's totally an alpha dude. Like, yeah, Camilo, you know, he's a giant. Like, yeah, I'm going to go talk to these babes. Like, because, I mean, what are you going to do? You're a single guy. You're going to get on the train. You see these hot babes. You're like, oh, yeah. Whoa. It was fixed. It wasn't real. Like, they were fed. And later I came to see that. Like, so because the movie caught me off guard.
The police tells Mandrake, we're going to keep an eye on, right? They tell him. So that's how they were doing it with those two girls. See, I didn't put those two together. I was like, how are they keeping track of this guy? They said they were going to keep track of him. And Mandrake was like, yeah, right. And then I was kind of like, why are they? Well, the other people I reviewed this with, they were like, why did the police tell Mandrake? Like, the police would normally not give that information. So was there something there that they maybe sensed that this guy was trying to be a vigilante? Do you think?
I had an alternative point of view, that maybe they thought because he was an American and he never identified himself, and the period that we're looking at in the late 80s, early 90s, they might have thought he was just another kind of agent. Another intelligence operative, like Ronin, you know, like we talked about.
Right.
Maybe they were, because he was a photographer, so is his photography, was that a cover for him working with the CIA? And there's always that in the back of my head, because they're talking to him as if he is
really,
he's not a suspect.
Yeah.
Like, all his stuff goes down, and he's not a suspect. Immediately, they're just like, oh, yes, Mr. Mandrake, you know, like.
The guy gives him the photo of, you know, this guy died, and he leaves the photo. Why would a cop do that? Never.
So there's something going on there with Rio in 1990s, late 80s, where the socialists or whoever was in charge, they were getting intel from the American. So he's an American.
Yeah.
And like somehow, but that's never really. That's more of my own personal interpretation.
And that's a good
not
one.
implied at all.
No, it's not. But
his girlfriend is an archaeologist. So like, who else would have a girlfriend that's an archaeologist? Like Indiana Jones is going to hang out with CIA agent babes. Like, you know, like he was. It's the other way around. Indy's the archaeologist, but he's hanging out with this like intel people that are pointing him in these directions. So it's really interesting stuff.
It is interesting.
He's got, his gig, like he's working on this book for the Japanese, but really, like, is that a cover for something else? Like, why is he at a place where Teki Cairo is on the run and like he's there taking photos? Like he just happens to be down this alley. And like this main super secret assassin is on the same alley, and that's never implied.
No,
so it's never said why, but we just know from scenes at the beginning of the movie he's got a catalog, and then Gisela has his book inside her dresser, so that's kind of weird too. Like, and she's connected to the cousin and Teki Cairo, like, so everybody's connected. Like, how is this dude? He's involved in the underworld because he's not just an ordinary photographer.
And that is very believable what you're saying, because like, if you remember when she dies, right? He immediately confronts the weapons dealer, right? And when who does that? He walks in there, and then the guy even offers to pay him, and he's like, you know, only James Bond would do that, right? He walks into the villain's lair and goes, "Look, I know what's up." Who does that? He goes in there unarmed. Yeah, that's balls of steel. That's like James Bond right there. He has a James Bond attitude. He sleeps with the secret Asian girl. He sleeps with all the girls. He's James Bond, really. So, yeah.
I was curious, you know, if you had that point of view, if you thought he was some kind of intelligence operative. This was before
that's
the
fresh
era
from you.
Of Born Identity and stuff like that. So they weren't going to be, well, obviously not the first Born Identity movie that we've talked about before, but not, you know, like you know what I mean? They weren't going to openly put this in the movies. Like they were keeping it hush. Maybe it's just there, like, so that we can.
It's very interesting perspective. I think it's possible. That's awesome. That is an awesome perspective, and I really appreciate that you brought this up.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. No, it's very refreshing. It's because really, what's up with this guy, Mandrake? What is up? He's definitely not normal. Even the relationship he has with Amanda Pays is not normal. The way they meet, it wasn't like normal boyfriend girlfriend. I haven't seen you in a long time. No, he picks up her bags, starts walking. She says stop, and he drops them, and it's just really.
No, that was weird.
It's not normal. Yeah.
At first, I thought, wow, this dude's suave. Like, he's picking up all the babes. Like, next time I see a babe, I'm going to, like, ask her, like, hey, do you need help with your suitcase?
Dude, it's like it's James Bond-esque.
Very James Bond, but without, like, the overt, you know, saying, like, that he is. So maybe it is kind of a covert ops movie. At the same time, it has the drama of the boyfriend-girlfriend drama, but the knife stuff, like, we got to get into that because it's right after that he goes and confronts the weapons dealer, that somebody comes to his house and the home invasion. I think that we're not far off with that. So,
the home
invasion. The weapons dealer already had the orange disc. Orange disc was taken from day one, and he remembers seeing him in the elevator. So they were both in the elevator. They were both at Gisela's apartment.
That's right, yeah.
They knew each other, and then he literally tells him, I'm a photographer, I saw you there. Like, come on.
Yeah.
So he tells him that. That guy sends... We had an exchange through text, and I was curious because did Teki Cairo send the thugs to Mandrake's house, or did the weapons dealer send them? Weapons dealer is working for his cousin, but the cousin thinks that the weapons dealer is taking stuff off the, is on the take. He's double dealing, and Techie Cairo is working for the big boss. So technically, he's above the weapons dealer.
So did the big boss send? Probably not at this point, right? He's not involved.
Big boss isn't involved yet.
Is not involved yet.
Who did? Maybe it was the weapons dealer that sent the people, but he got them from Techie Cairo.
But
maybe that's.
And he was the one they say betrayed, right? They put it on him, right? And he's cousins.
They end up pointing back to him.
But
they don't point back to Hermes.
But he's cousins with the big boss, right?
Yeah, he's cousins. But the big boss already said, like, my cousin's cheating.
Yeah.
No,
he was the guy that did it. So he set up the prostitute lady. He gave the one that gets killed, the one that ends up with the disc. He gave her the disc.
No, the disc is true story. The disc did fall out of the dude's jacket.
So that's an accident?
Yeah, that just happened because she's obviously the whole scenario was set up. She's that's the honeypot. So she's working this guy. During the part, she ends up getting the disc. Either the disc fell out or she stole the disc from his jacket, but that's a true story. She just didn't know how to use the disc or what was on the disc. And later we find out that disc is loaded with account numbers in the hundreds of billions of dollars. It was a lot of money. I don't know if it was billions or millions, but I saw a lot of zeros.
And it has all the names and everything and the transactions. And what's his face? The dwarf guy, the rival. He buys it, right? And he's like, so he teams up with Mandrake for that. I'm jumping. That's way towards the end, but basically the boss is in big trouble after that.
Yeah, because they find out, and that's such a cool scene where he takes out his laptop computer, and, and the way the cameraman focuses on those elements. He focuses on the diskette going into the guy's computer, the computer opening up, like. All of that was brand new back then.
Yeah.
Maybe people watching that movie wouldn't get it, but in those years, there weren't computers like that.
No.
So that was super high-tech, super spy gadget.
Yeah.
Like having a laptop computer in a car was just wow. Like, I don't know if it was in a car, but it was that midget guy had the computer. But there's the knife stuff, man. I mean, we didn't even get into that.
Yeah, we got to get to that.
We sort of skipped it, but no, we can go back. The Hermes is the result of the home invasion. So he seeks out Hermes, and in a way, it's kind of cool because he just puts out these little crumbs of like, I'm looking for this guy, and then later the dude rings the doorbell.
He just shows up. Yeah. He's like, why are you looking for me? Right?
Yeah.
And then what?
Which right before that, though, it's a good little in pause there. Amanda Pay's character she raped. It's not ever really on the screen. All we hear is a rip. Like there's a rip, and then you hear a little bit of like her screams, but. This is all during this closing of the eyes dream sequence of Mandrake, and then later you see him on the bed, the hospital bed, and then there's some more dream sequences of her again. So is it something that happened, or is that the director's amazing way of telling us that this guy psychologically blocked out his girlfriend getting raped right before his eyes?
Yeah, I believe that it was. Well, the first one's not a dream sequence. He's knocked out, basically. He's half unconscious and he's fading out. And
so you think the guy does rape?
Absolutely, horrifically rapes her, and Mandrake is unable to do anything, and he goes unconscious, which is a horrible for both of them. Yeah. Obviously she gets it worse. but he was left to die there. He was supposed to die from that, but luckily he survives. She survives, and then obviously she wants to move on.
Yeah.
But he's like, no, I got to get revenge, right?
Yeah.
Is it revenge or he has to do his mission? If what you said, if he is a CIA super,
it's probably a mission that he's got to do is a mission, and but in terms of the revenge thing, maybe it could be that he has to sort of learn how to protect his own and not necessarily revenge, but that's why he seeks out the knife guy. I don't know if it's revenge because remember they find Camilo, the cops, but the other guy was already dead. The guy that did.
Him and the giant were the ones that attacked him at his home, but he basically ends up teaming up with the giant, right? And then
later, and the dwarf, all three of them.
I in a way I was a little bit disappointed because I did want to see them fight. Him and the giant when he's pursuing him.
The giant would have taken him out though, because size sort of does win. He was agile, and even though with that wounded eye, he would have still.
Well, dude, that's you see, that would have been his first knife fight, but instead, his first knife fight is against the boss, the guy that taught Hermes, which is crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, we can get into that because, cut to the chase, he ends up beating the guy. So is he better than Hermes?
No, I don't think so. I don't think, and the reason why I say that is because yes, the guy taught Hermes, but and the other people that I reviewed with, they were saying that Hermes is in his prime at that time. He's doing stuff, whereas the bosses, he's already been living the luxurious life. He's living the super high luxurious parties because you always see him in a suit and he's with rich people. So he's eating well. He's with all these women. He's not training. He's not using it. Whereas the Hermes still is, as we saw in the movie.
That means then Hermes is in the prime of his life. He's in the prime of the art, and he passed it on really well to a total beginner nobody, from They Live, a John, nobody. What was his name from They Live, But anyway,
Nada.
Just a regular guy, John Nada, a regular guy.
Yeah.
And the art itself comes alive, the high art.
But that's where what you were saying makes sense, that he wasn't the regular guy. And Hermes, and Hermes knew. Hermes knew that. Yeah. So
because he gets really dedicated. He does those moves, and then you see Peter Coyote is when they're doing the fight sequences, he's leaning over and he's already, because he's I remember when that was me and I was working out with my instructor and I would lean over like that. So he would say, no, you have to straighten up because that's already you're totally telegraphing what you're going to do. You have to be, but he's getting into it. That means that dude, Peter Coyote, in real life, he put in some time to practice that stuff. His body was changing according to I liked it, man. The way that they moved and they would the alive hand, they had everything. It just seemed super realistic. I had never seen a movie like that before.
No, the way they shot it. Well, first we got to start with this kind of the show. Well, every scene that Hermes is in is a show stealer. But when they buy the knives, wasn't that a nod to Taxi Driver?
Yeah, for sure.
Wouldn't you say, with the weapons dealer? Except this weapons dealer was maybe a little more likable,
Yeah, totally. And you see it all the way even today in movies from 2014, the first John Wick movie, where I think he goes in to buy some weapons or one of those John Wick movies. He's buying weapons. Of course, they make it all over and really, exaggerate in those movies, but it's the same thing. It's the same homage to that
Oh,
Taxi Driver.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No,
trying
that
to win.
that is awesome. And then
So,
Hermes buys him a weapon, but he doesn't let the guy use it. He's like,
no,
"Here's a ruler," right?
yeah, yeah. He's like, okay, you attack me like it's a knife, and like you see the Peter Mandrake, you see him like the expression is like, are you kidding? Like, how can I not like hit you? And that's when it sort of like clicks like in his head, like he's there and he can learn something because he can't touch him with the ruler. And that's where he says like you have to learn how to evade and stuff, and that was that first part where Hermes is like he like goes back and the guy tries to get him in the fight scene in the alley,
right?
And that's what caught my eye, and I was like, hey, wait a minute, this isn't just a regular movie. That's the beginning of the movie for me, because like the knife comes out. Like,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, and that training sequence is so awesome because, like you're saying, you see a change in Mandrake, and at the same time, they're showing his girlfriend just crying the whole time. She hates it because she wants to move on, and
I know.
I still remember that conversation where and that was with me all these years where she was like, "What are you learning?" And he's like, "Persev. I'm learning, perforate and sever." And then she's like, "Perforate what? Sever what?" And so she was like, "What are you talking? You're talking about killing someone." And he's like, "It's an amazing." He's like. Now, like he feels that magic, so he's like, "This is amazing. You should try it," like kind of thing. And she's like, "No way. You're talking about killing people,
Yeah.
And you could, you and I, we felt that in the martial arts training. The way he was all excited about this is an amazing style. You felt that over the course, multiple styles, I'm sure, but you felt that.
Oh, totally. Of course. Like, yes. Especially with FMA, you feel it because you start right away, and like we started right away with a knife. It wasn't a sharp knife, but it was the training knife. Like we went from that to sticks,
you guys didn't start with sticks?
Well, it was both, but I mean, we were like right away from day one. It was the knife. Everyone does different, but like Trissimo is a knife. Like it's a knife art. Like he uses a knife, so. We were always from there, so every movement was always real dedicated.
Conscious.
Like the stick work was always really clean. Like we weren't hitting sticks at that point. We were already like hitting each other's hands or the thumb, or like they were real precise strikes, and it was from that knife training. Changes, I think, your perception. Like you kind of become a heightened perception. Even in the training, like if you can feel it, like when you pick up a stick, you sort of have like it's like in the movie 2001, the chimpanzee picks up the stick. But when you pick up a blade, a knife, or even a metal thing, like in The Hunted, where he takes that metal thing and at that forge, and he makes his own forge out there by the waterworks, so that is a complete 180 from a stick. Like it's no longer a stick. Like that's a piece of metal that like perforate and sever.
Yeah,
100%. Like the girl didn't get it. Like, but maybe most girls don't get it. Like it.
Well, she didn't want to get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like if you think about it, like she's an Oxford babe, like from aristocracy, and she does the elite thing. She's working in archaeology for a grant.
Yeah.
So like she's probably like a PhD, 25. Like that girl wasn't thinking about killing, especially even after the rape. Like there's something weird. Like that's why I had to ask. Like because there's a scene where she's about to tell him, like when Mandrake's waking up in the hospital bed. And he's like, "What about you? Are you okay?" And she sort of like hesitates, but like it's real brief. Like you have to see it, like and catch it. and like her eyes sort of twitch, and the camera picks it up, and then she just says, "Yeah, I'm okay."
Yeah, you see, that to me was she was hiding it, and then
Of course, 100%, and they captured it so well that they didn't have to tell you, like they didn't have to put subtitles or
exactly. And then also, I think they re-fortify that because when they show that guy, that same guy, man, that guy's like a perfect Jack the Ripper kind of guy. You know, the way he looks, the way he is. He is a sociopath. The character, you know, he is. You could tell he's sick. He's not normal. And then remember, he worked in a rose garden, right? So he definitely has a perverse sense of everything. Like,
which guy is this? Which guy?
The guy with the long hair and he's bald. The killer. The guy with the Spyderco folding knife.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
He's the one that if she got raped, he did it.
Yeah.
That guy. So you know, they make it clear that when the giant and the dwarf and Mandrake, they all team up, they take him out. Yeah.
He was kind of like.
But that guy, yeah, they make it clear that he's a pervert. You know, he's perverted. He's messed up, and so he's the one that gets her into that room. So I assume that he's totally like that. You know.
So it wasn't the cousin that kills Gisela, like the boss, the big cousin boss. He's not the guy that kills the hooker, right?
Yes, it was, right?
Oh, it was?
Yeah, because of the knife.
He puts the thing on her face. Like,
yeah. You could tell, but it wasn't a Spyderco. By the knife. That's the same knife that the boss had. So
okay, good. I'm glad. So I'm on track.
Yeah, that is him. Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Oh man, that's some cool movie though. Like they got the, you know what I mean? Because it's like back then, like the underworld is so cool. Like I love the scene where the guy goes into the nightclub and he's like, "I'm here to see the boss," and he's like, "Why? Who are you?" It's like, and you know, all of a sudden he's got no history, but right there, he's sitting down with the boss.
That's
exchanging
crazy.
Information.
Yeah, so crazy. So that's once again, is he CIA, right?
He's something. He's got to be something because everybody knows who he is. They all know him, so there's no cover, but they know him as the American photographer.
A normal guy wouldn't do the things that he did in this movie, for sure. I mean, yeah, you'd have to be pretty crazy, balls of steel, which he has both, you know.
Well, think about it, like,
and that
how
drive.
How much is one of those photography catalogs worth? How much is he going to get paid for that book? Is the amount of money that he gets paid for the book worth the risk that he puts his body in going to these places? That's the curiosity there, where I think the red flags are waving there for me. He's not. There's not enough money in those books.
No, I see.
To go into the things that he's doing.
I see. Yeah.
He's not going to buy a Ferrari with the revenue from his book.
No. And apparently he's been traveling around the world, right? So they make
but
that.
He will be able to sell information to the highest bidder, and that's money.
Right.
So I mean, I loved it. Like the knife, I didn't know one of those knives, dude, in the knife selling, thing. Like all those knives were so exotic and cool.
Well, the one that the boss has, and the one that Hermes buys for himself, because he buys two knives, but so the one that's from a Texas knife maker.
Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah. And then of course the British Commando knife, which it wasn't the British Commando knife, but the Fairbairn, was it the Fairbairn Sykes knife? So that's a super famous knife.
Okay, yeah.
I think in the movie they call it SAS, but I don't think that was it. And then the Randall knives are yeah, I learned it from this movie, the Randall knives. Yeah.
So awesome, man. I'm
Yeah.
glad that you're explaining it because I'll go back and watch. I knew that they were all famous knives.
Yeah.
I knew this wasn't like a gimmicky
No,
scene.
no.
Like, this was a scene. Like, this guy was going to the Rolls Royce of knife dealers.
No, Randall knives are expensive, and that's the one that Hermes buys for him, for Mandarin. And that's the one he uses to fight with the boss, is the Randall knife. So you might want to check that out. The Professor Bram Frank is a big fan of the Randall knives, so I also heard from him. But yeah, definitely. I know you were super into knives, so we could definitely check that out after this. Yeah. But
well, this is pretty much like what I wanted to talk about with the movie. I didn't have a lot of insight, aside from maybe that Mandrake could be an agent.
Yeah, no, that's new.
Really well-made movie because everything's sort of like subtle. It's not in your face. Like, we know Jason Bourne is an agent.
Right. But I gotta talk to you about, because this was big for me. For every movie I watch, I kind of try to pay attention to is music, and you're the man with music. So, what'd you think of the music in this movie?
Well, it was good. It didn't stand out to me like.
It didn't.
It was good. It didn't lack either. It was
okay.
It was a completely well-made film. I didn't really notice anything.
Okay, maybe
about the music. Like,
do you still have it, the movie?
No, I can get it. I can view it because remember I watched it on the archive, so I can go back and look at it. I'll definitely go look.
Okay, the music where every time Hermes has his own theme song.
Oh, really? He does?
Dude.
See, I've only watched it once.
Yeah.
So, like, you will definitely know a lot more. I didn't know Hermes had his own theme song. That's awesome.
Dude, and it gives me chills when I hear the music. It's that good. I think it's that good. I think it would appeal to you too.
I did notice this, that they're using synthesizers that are really high quality synthesizers.
Okay.
That's what I noticed. It's the same kind of stuff like from Kickboxer and
Bloodsport.
The same kind of synthesizers. Yeah. It's nice. It's good.
And at the end of the movie, is when the music comes on when the credits start rolling. That's great too. But there's also like scenes like when he's in Bolivia, with the train. And also like in the beginning of the movie where they're introducing the Brazil where he's at, you know.
Yeah.
The music blew me away. But you watch it again, you have an amazing ear for that because obviously
I was taken back by the music. It wasn't
okay.
Everything was perfect. Like there wasn't any lacking.
Right.
Me. I wasn't just disappointed at all by any means. So. But definitely,
now,
after a few viewings, I can go back and look and say, "Oh yeah, this is
now,
awesome."
Yeah, I think you're gonna go. This music is not just like it's good. No, it is very like Bloodsport. When you hear Bloodsport, you know them. You know it.
I think that it's authentic. Is what we're saying, and I think that it's scene for scene. Authentic.
Yeah, you're gonna get that.
You can hear. You can just hear like the first little sounds, and then like, oh yeah. So definitely, I'm gonna go back.
Right.
I don't know it as well as you. I just watched it once, and I was blown away. So definitely thought the movie was great, and it's worth a lot more for me to watch it again.
Yes,
especially knowing this stuff that I know now about it.
You introduced to me, what was it called? The one with Forrest Whitaker.
Oh, Ghost Dog.
Ghost Dog. That was amazing. Music too. That was amazing. Yeah. So for me, the way I get you back is by introducing this movie to you. To me, they're both up there. Like
I saw this one on the web listed as The Knife.
Oh, okay. Yeah, different titles. Yeah.
I think so. Like that also like it puts a whole other perspective on it. It had been called The Knife.
Right.
I wouldn't have. Right at that moment where I'm like, man, why am I watching this? And then the knife fight scene, where Teki Cairo is dodging.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, like it caught me. So it's extremely well made because there's certain quirks that every person has, and like your attention span is just this, and so right where my attention span was at its limit, and I was thinking like this is the end, like I'm gonna turn this off. It went up to a whole other level, so it passed through a transition state and became even more profound as a movie that I would enjoy, from not even just from a superficial level, and then enjoying it even more because Amanda Pays. I mean, I like her, so why wouldn't I want to watch a movie with her? I didn't know she was in it until you had said her name, and then I was like, okay, yeah, she's in it. But then, like, I'm watching it, and
when
like
you see her,
I see Gisela, and like I'm like, okay, she's pretty, but like she's a '90s babe, and then wow, like,
yeah. Awesome, awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely gonna rewatch it, man.
Okay.
And update my review or whenever I do.
Yeah, please.
But thanks a lot, man. Wmpyr, good to talk to you. I hope
likewise.
We talk about what you wanted to and stuff.
Yes, more than I expected. You introduced a completely new perspective. That's amazing. So thank you for that.
Cool. Well, we'll see you on the next one, man. Thanks a lot.
All right. Bye.
Later on.